Hi, my name is Amber. Welcome to my channel, Books and Beaches. So it is finally time to talk about all of the books that I read in the month of April. So April was an okay month for me reading wise. I've got my stats pulled up here. I read 7 books in the month of April, which for me is a little below average, but a lot of the books were fairly long, including one historical fiction, which was super long. So not my best reading month stats wise, but I think rating wise, it might have been one of my higher months compared to some of the other months this year. So I've got my stats pulled up just because I'm a little bit curious what they ended up looking like, especially because my books read was a little bit lower. So like I said, I read 7 books, which turned out to be 2,678 pages. Now it says hours listened was 62. I always put the full amount of what the hours of the audiobooks are. I typically listen between 1.8 and 2.0 when it comes to my audiobook speeds. I know that might make me a little crazy, but it's just the way my brain processes it, but it just depends on any accents and whatnot. So all 7 of them were novels. 3 were new authors to me. 4 I had read before. Let's see. I actually had 1 contemporary, 2 fantasy, 1 mystery, and 2 thrillers. 5 were mixtures. 1 was an ebook and 1 was audiobook only. And I think that's pretty much most of the relevant stats that I had, and kind of the rest I'll go over as I go through the books. So, but I do love the spreadsheet that I use. It was created by the hardback hoarder, I believe her name is, and I got her spreadsheet off of Etsy every year. So best $5 ever. But so if I compare that, my average rating ended up being a 4.2, which compared to the other months this year, March was a 3.8, February was only a 3.3, and January was 4.0. So this was my best month rating wise, I guess. So that was pretty good. So let's go ahead and talk about all of the actual books that I did read. Now, most of these were, like I said, either books that I had on my Kindle or I listened to. And I'm trying to think. I may have one of these physically and have it loaned out. So the very first one I finished in the month of April was Listen for the Lie, and this is by Amy Tintera. I really ended up enjoying this book. I think I gave it ultimately a 4.5. We basically have a woman who was suspected of killing her best friend, and they live in a small town, but she cannot remember doing it, even though she basically seems to be the only suspect. And the whole reason we're looking into this story is because there is a famous podcaster that comes to the town trying to figure out what happened. And the reason I actually really liked this one is because there was a lot of humor to it. The grandmother in this story was hilarious, and even just the way the main character talked to herself I found to be very funny. And so I think it's odd to describe a thriller as funny. And so I even remember talking to a coworker about it, and she's like, well, I don't want to read something that's funny. And I was like, no, there's just funny parts. It's still a thriller. It's still going to make you wonder and keep you guessing. But I was like, it's very rare that a thriller makes me laugh out loud. So really liked that one. And if you do get a chance to listen to it, the podcast element is done very, very well in that one. So definitely enjoyed that one. And I believe that one was a book of the month choice. So I think that's why I have a copy of it. So it's got to be here somewhere. The next one that I did on finishing was part of my 5-star predictions that I did with Lindsay and Sarah. So I'm going to make sure to list and link that video below, because I will go into more in-depth reviews of these books in that video. So I'm not going to talk too much about them here. But that was the Gunkle Abroad by Stephen Rowley. This is the sequel to the Gunkle, and I really did enjoy my reading experience with that one. This one actually comes out on May 21st, so it won't be quite out even by the time you're seeing this video, but that is a series that I definitely suggest everyone pick up because it's just a super cute series. And then after I finished that one, I picked up another one that I did for my 5-star predictions. Actually, the next two were all of my 5-star predictions videos. You could tell I was making sure I was getting them done by the end of April here. And that was The Kind Worth Saving by Peter Swanson. This is also the second book in the, I think they're calling it The Kind Worth Killing series, where this is focused around the detective in these cases. And I definitely didn't like this one as much as the first one when I had to compare them. And I think I said in my 5-star wrap-up video that you wouldn't necessarily have to read them in order. Now that I go back and think about it, I mean, you probably should. There are some things that, you know, would be spoiled for you if you didn't read the first book. But, and I know I mentioned this, they are coming out, or Peter Swanson is coming out with a third one in this series as well. So, but like I said, if you want to hear more thoughts about that one, they're going to be in my 5-star prediction video that I'll link below. And then after that one, I picked up Sflow Sisters, which is the other book that I did for that 5-star prediction video, and that was by Martha Hall Kelly. And that was the third book in the Lost Roses series. Now that is a series that you could read any of the books out of order, just because they all deal with different time periods, all surrounded around the Woolsey family. And this one was Civil War based, and you're getting multiple different perspectives from different women involved in this time period. We have one woman that's a prominent woman in New York who ends up being a nurse during the Civil War. We have an enslaved girl, and then the slave owner. And so very, very unique perspectives. I did listen to that one on audio as well. And that one was great because you're getting, you know, some different accents and voices in that audio, which I really did enjoy. So I think I gave that one like a 4 as well. So anyways, like I said, more details in that video link below. So after I did all of those, I am slowly but surely working on my middle grade March video. I tell you, I am so behind when it comes to my Read Like Booktubers content, but only for March. I am so sorry to my middle grade March wonderful, wonderful content creators here on YouTube. But I picked up Sweep, and I know my window is going to wash it out a little bit, by Jonathan Auxier, and this was recommended by Katie from Life Between Words, and I really did enjoy this. I'm going to talk more about it when I do that whole video featuring my wonderful middle grade March friends, but this book hit me in the feels way more than I expected. It truly is a story of a girl and her monster. It's a little bit fantasy, a little bit historical, about, you know, these children that are quote unquote hired, even though they're paid like nothing, to be chimney sweeps. And just a very sweet, you know, there's points where this book brought me to tears, and like I said, I will talk more about that in that middle grade wrap-up video. But this was, I think, now that I'm looking, my only 5-star book in the month of April. It was so good. So there's that one. After that, I picked up a book that I will be talking more about in a different video, because I got myself back on track in April, and I was able to do my April Read Like a Booktuber book, and this was Cinder by Marissa Meyer, and I was reading like Talia from Bandana Book Mom. Now, if you have not watched Talia, I highly suggest you go and check her out. I will be linking her below, but I am going to save talking about this book for that video, which hopefully will be the next video I put out after this one. But I can't wait to talk about Cinder. It is one that I'm trying to think of when that came out. I can't remember when it was published. It's been out for quite a while. 2018. Wait, no, just kidding, 2012. So it has been out, you know, in the bookish world for quite some time. So, and I was skeptical, but I'll talk more about that in that video. So there was that one. And then last, but certainly not least, in the month of April, I picked up, and now I know it should be over here. Unless I already gave it to someone to read. Just kidding. I don't have a copy of it yet. I decided to put it in this month's Book of the Month box, which I don't have yet. But I had the ebook and the audiobook arc of Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth. Now, I could not remember if I'd actually picked up anything by Sally Hepworth or not. I know I have a couple of books over here by her, but this book was so good. Right off the bat, I'll tell you, I rated it a 4.5. I did not think it was perfect, but it was darn near perfect. And I was skeptical, and the ending got me, I'll give you that. We have a book being told from 3 different perspectives, and we have these 3 women who met in a foster care home. This whole book is told in Australia, and these 3 women grew up under the care of course, now I can't remember her name, but this woman who raised them was not so nice of a woman. Now, when we first meet her, she seems like she is going to be the perfect foster mother. When our first girl, Jessica, of course I can remember her name, you know, she treats her so nicely. And then as she starts to bring more children into the home in hopes to get, you know, more money for taking care of more children, her antics change. And so these girls survive basically what is, you know, narcissistic abuse from their foster mother together. And the reason that they have stayed close then, as they escaped that foster care, they have stayed close all of their adulthood, and they consider themselves sisters because they grew up in that way. And they are having to come back to this town where they lived because there's been a body that has been found under this house. And I don't want to say too much other than that because this story has a lot of twists to it. There were a few things that I probably could have done without, but the twists at the end definitely made me bump it up to 4.5. So I will leave it at that. But those are all of the books that I read in the month of April. Like I said, not my best reading month, but as you saw at the beginning, it definitely was a higher rated reading month for me. And so in that respect, I will definitely take it. So what did you pick up in the month of April? Anything that I should be adding to my list? Let me know in the comments below. As always, if you like this video, feel free to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.